God just made me different. He gave me a great smile, but he gave me a real serious look. And you can't really distinguish between if I'm angry or if I'm happy or if I'm sad, just because I don't have the personality to play. I have the personality to, I'm not interested in making you laugh.
I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock. I love you. Angela Stone hospitalized a brick. That's bad. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Fast. Last night, I cut the light off my bedroom, hit the switches in the bed before the room was dark. All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you, I know you got him. I know you got him fixed. But the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
When I was a casual, I thought as a casual, I spoke like a casual, and I looked at boxing like a casual. But when I became a hardcore, I put away all those casual things. This is Michael Rogers, and welcome to Bodywork Boxing.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. We 3 days away from an undisputed bout with Jermell Ironman Charlo and Brian El Boxi Castano. The second time around, we got Charlo coming in with the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, the Ring Magazine, and we got Castano coming in with the WBO belts. The last time the fight took place, I think both fighters thought that they left a lot in the ring. A lot of people were saying that Castano won. CompuBox would say that, you can give the edge to Castano, even though his activity was a lot less than what he normally, puts out. I think a lot of people were saying that Charlo won because even though both gentlemen got touched in the fights, there was more of a reaction when Jermell touched Castano. And from the 8th round to the 12th round, I think Charlo pitched a shutout to close the fight. I say that if you flipped the coin and told me either one won at that time, I wouldn't argue with you. I see both sides. This time, I think there's a little bit more bad blood. Jermell Charlo feels the same way he felt when it was alleged that Tony Harrison had, claimed injury and postponed the fight. I think he's feeling the same way about Castano. There's been rumblings about, tests being taken and, allegations about certain things, which I really don't get into. So it's a lot going on in the background with this fight. What I think this fight is going to boil down to is a battle of wills. I believe that Jermell Charlo's superhuman ability is his suddenness. When he decides to pull the trigger and he figures something out, he's going to get there. I think Brian Castano's super ability is his ability to change levels in how he gambles. He does a lot of things that's kind of unorthodox that a lot of people can't really get away with, but for his size and his reach, he knows his distance. And if as soon as you go on the back foot, he's on attack mode. And when he attacks, he does a good job at going upstairs, downstairs, to the left, to the right. And, he knows how to use that rope to his advantage. Looking back at the fight, I can't help but think that now that Jermell's training and, being focused and really, yearning to have this fight, I believe that Jermell Charlo knows that he should not have been up against the ropes as much. He should have took more control, fought off the back foot a little bit less, you know, asserted himself more like Derrick James was trying to tell him. And I think this time around, I think if he can lock into what Derrick James is telling him, because on the last fight, Derrick James was giving him all the keys that he needed to win the fight. But for some reason, he really didn't start implementing some of those things till the later rounds, where Castano had already, you know, in the eyes of the fight, people that was watching the fight was already like on his way to actually winning that fight. So this time around, unlike last time around, I had predicted last time around that Jermell Charlo was going to come up from underneath of Castano with something. I kind of seeing it being the same way, even though I think that right hand is going to play a factor. It might be like a 1-2. You know, I think I can't help but see that it was like 4 rounds in the fight that Castano didn't throw a single jab. That's a common theme, you know. He didn't throw a single jab, which I think, you know, Derrick James is a mad scientist. I know he broke down the numbers and he looked at everything. He really had extra time to put it in Jermell Charlo's head of all the flaws and all of the weakness that he could have capitalized with his athleticism, with his boxing IQ, and with his speed and his power. You know, I think that if Jermell Charlo listens to Derrick James, especially with Castano coming off a bicep injury, because we can say, oh, it wasn't that bad, so the fight's back on. It was bad enough for you to delay Undisputed. But then there's other allegations of, you know, things taken in testing and you know, history of this before the last fight that makes this build up a must see. Either way, we're going to get an answer on Saturday, May 14th. The undercard got Boots versus Cussio Clayton. A very, very, very good, sneaky good fight that I think is going to be a good night of boxing for free. You know, so what I really see is Jermell Charlo possibly stopping Castano. I think that if he can get him stunned, I look at it being, it might go 6 rounds. It might go 6 rounds. That's my thoughts on it. What do you think? You know, I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's 50-50. I just think that coming off a bicep injury, you know, and already, you know, Jermell Charlo already seeing that he can really hurt Castano before. He just, you know, he didn't pounce on him the way he normally did. He, you know, stayed up against the ropes, you know, more than he should have. You know, he made himself, he stayed in that hard guard, and Brian Castano caught him, rocked him a time. So I think that, you know, it was a learning experience. And just like Teddy said about the great Ray Robinson, everybody he lost to, Ray Robinson came back and avenged the loss with a victory. I think Jermell Charlo is on the same path. And I think that we are in for a treat. You know what we do here? We feed the clones. We don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
All right, I believe you, but my Tommy gun don't. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
My word, and I do what I do. He knows what I'm about to tell him right now. It's Mr. Keep running your mouth. That's what I do.
I just feel like I'm the champ, and at the end of the day, I'm just a fighting motherfucker. It doesn't matter. Inside, outside, I can just fight. So I just feel like if it get down to the wire, and we gotta lock it up, I'm out on top.
Hey, look, as you can see how I'm looking, I stay solid. I'm always solid. I stay fuck solid, man. what I'm saying, to the fans and all
Do
that.
that job outside the ring in the fighter. Like I said before, ain't no safety on the clock, so